And there's a reason we talk recruiting with Ryan. He's that good. Ryan, of course, covers recruiting with GoVols 247.com. Very busy month for Tennessee. Last week we put up the graphic that showed Tennessee 14th on 247's rankings, and we said, is that good enough for June? We said, well, it's got to start growing here in the next few weeks. Let's see at the end of July where it is. Let's take a look where it went to in just 1 week. As Chuck would say, bam! It went from 14 to 10th. Tennessee now 10th overall, climbing up the list. Ryan, how'd they make such a big jump in 1 week?
Yeah, and they were up to number 9 at one point. A lot of fluctuation, obviously, this time of year, but big week. 3 commitments started on Monday with 4-star offensive lineman Douglas Utu of Las Vegas. One that not a lot of people had projected to Tennessee for a long time. I think Tennessee was kind of lying in the weeds in that one for a while because he didn't talk a whole lot. Nobody really knew what he was thinking. So Tennessee gets the last official visit. He announces a decision a day after that. Top 100 player in the 24/7 Sports Composite, projected at guard. Been a long time since Tennessee landed at guard that highly ranked. So potentially a really big addition, especially with a 5-star tackle and David Sanders still out there for Tennessee on the offensive line.
Let me ask you this. For each of these guys you're going to mention, this guy and the next two, tell me also how solid you feel about that person's decision.
Yeah, I think most of these, it would be a surprise if they end up elsewhere. Okay. A lot of these kids, they're making decisions in the summer, and they're viewing it as their recruitment's over. They're getting it out of the way before their senior season. They won't take many visits, if at all, during the season.
That's a change in the last few years from when it was just kind of the commitment means nothing.
And that's why they've been discussing a possible summer signing period. Looks like that's not going to happen right now, but this is kind of it for a lot of guys. Very, very little drama usually. After that, Tuesday, Trey Potit, cornerback from Wisconsin. He's a guy that's lived all over because he's the son of a former NFL player, Hank Potit, cornerback that played for the Patriots and the Steelers and a few other teams. He's now the cornerbacks coach at Iowa State, and he chose not to go play for his dad and is headed to Tennessee anyway. So that interesting kind of dynamic in his recruitment. You wondered if they were sort of a dark horse contender more so than the favorite because is he going to go play for his dad? He chose Tennessee over Wisconsin in the end and kind of eliminated this spring the possibility of going to play for his dad. But I think sneaky good pickup there, 3rd cornerback in the class for Tennessee. So got him on Tuesday. And then on Friday, just as big as the U2 commitment, I think, 4-star defensive lineman Marion D out of Indiana. This is a guy up near South Bend. He's in Elkhart, Indiana. Not a part of the state Tennessee recruits a whole lot. Not a state Tennessee recruits a whole lot, but certainly not a part of the state where they can usually go in and beat out Big Ten teams. They beat out Ohio State and Purdue for Marion D, and a big-time defensive lineman. I think he's really good. Some people still sleeping on him a little bit, I think. He's a little raw, but, man, 6'5", a little over 6'5", I think, 270 pounds, and can run. And hard to find big guys like that can move. Long arms, I think, like 34.5-inch arms. I mean, he's got a really impressive build, a lot of upside. So these are 3 huge pickups for Tennessee.
Now, dead period is underway. It runs through, July 24th or so? But that doesn't mean you're not going to have some other names pop up here.
Yeah. We know a couple other announcements are scheduled for this coming weekend. I don't know that right now either of those is going to go Tennessee's way. Defensive lineman Bryce Jenkins and then offensive lineman Jacoby Ward. I think there's some other guys working toward decisions where we don't know decision dates just yet. Christian Gass, a linebacker, edge rusher hybrid that Tennessee's recruiting out of the Atlanta area. That looks like a Tennessee-Georgia battle. And then some other decision dates that are kind of more planned right now. Travis Smith, 4-star wide receiver from Atlanta. That's looked like a Tennessee-Georgia battle. Yeah. Maybe Alabama also in there. I think Tennessee probably the favorite to land him. That's on July 13. He'll be announcing. So some of those guys still coming up soon, and then others that we're still waiting to find out that might be later in July and potentially even into August. So still a lot more to watch this summer.
One of the services came out with their blue chip ratio this week. And for those that don't know, all of the previous national champions going back X amount of years, for the most part, they have had more 4s and 5s on their roster, at least 50% 4s and 5s on the roster, as opposed to the 3s and below. Tennessee didn't make the cut this year. Is it a surprise to you that 3.5 years in, Josh Heupel doesn't have Tennessee above that cut at this point? Because it sounds like you're going to be above the cut next year. If this class finishes the way they've got it going now, you would think that you would be in the blue chip ratio next year. Is it a surprise to you that they aren't there yet or no?
A little bit surprising only because you have the transfer portal to supplement that. I guess they go back and count those guys' high school ratings. Yeah. So some of those guys you would think would be 4 stars coming out of high school. Lance Hurd was a 5-star that you just got this offseason. So, yeah, you would think with that to supplement what they've done in high school recruiting that might put Tennessee in that mix. But Yeah, a little bit surprising, but also shows you that there's more than one way to do it. And Tennessee sort of hanging its hat on quarterbacks to get there a little bit.
Yeah.
But they've obviously got a roster that's got them on the fringe of the playoff discussion already.
Very good.